need to incorporate technology into the classroom. School systems worldwide is in need of becoming globally competitive. In order for students to be able to compete on that level, they must learn how to use technology. It has become the responsibility of the teacher to incorporate technology into their lessons.
Some challenges I face with using technology in the classroom come with the fact that I teach language arts, and the only thing I really feel like I can do is teach children how to type and teach them how to send emails and things of that nature. Nothing really in depth because I'm not very technologically savvy. I use the internet for my own purposes, but I do find difficulties teaching children how to use the internet for themselves. Children have a lot of knowledge of the internet, social media outlets and things of that nature, but beyond that, teaching them how to use different web programs is kind of difficult because they don't use web programs on a day-to-day basis. They use the internet for leisure purposes, so they get used to using them like that. For instance, I have an Edmodo page, and one of my assignments was for my students to look at a movie on Edmodo by themselves with their headphones. I noticed that when my timer went off and I was looking on my Edmodo page, how the students were not engaged in the movie, watching it on their own, and how they were typing their own conversations, just like on Facebook. So it's kind of hard to incorporate certain things inside of the classroom without the children thinking that it's a leisurely task, if that makes sense.
However, it can be a challenge to teach students that are born in the technology age. Their generation are naturals with technology. Technology can sometimes be intimidating to the teacher who was born in a different era. For some teachers, it is difficult teaching students using technology because they lack confidence and are afraid that students may know more.
Good morning. What can I share with you about technology and its implementation in the classroom? Well, my biggest frustration with it is when it doesn't work. So I can't tell you how many times I've embedded a very cool video clip in a PowerPoint or a lesson, and then clicked on it and it not come up. Frequently we have these blips in internet access, and so those things really bother me, and they frustrate me enough to say, okay, I don't need to depend on them. So that's been an ongoing frustration for me, and mostly, or sometimes it works, but maybe mostly it works, but when it doesn't and you depended on it, it's incredibly frustrating. The other thing that I think has been the biggest frustration about the technology is that there's a plethora of available technology pieces. It's almost option overload. So it's very, to my soul, maybe it's because I'm old, it's very wearying to have to sort through what could be useful and under what circumstances it could be useful. And I never feel like we have time to actually process that. And so I think for teachers, period, TIME is our biggest frustration, or lack thereof, and there's just no way around it. I mean, we're constantly consumed with the demands of what we do every day. So having the time to play with technology, really explore it, consider, collaborate about how we might best implement it meaningfully, and not just in a token, hey, I'm using some tech way, that takes time that we do not have. And unfortunately, that isn't as valued by our society as it should be. So it doesn't get paid for.
All right, good morning. I would like to talk about the struggles of having all this technology. In our school system, we have websites, Edmodo. We used to have a testing website that we'd have to go to. And at the end of the day, they all did the same thing. But we were required to do each and every one of them, when even with a school website, we could do the same thing. The blog, the turning in lessons, everything that we could do in each one of those websites could be done with one. But at the same time, we would have to do for this one, then we had to do the same exact thing on the other site, and then even remembering the username and the password for all that. That's it's usually, I mean you can try to do it the same way, but they have different requirements. You're trying to remember, you're typing in all this stuff. Oh no, that's for my other account that I did this exact same thing on, and then all of a sudden the next year they come in and we have to do a new one. And then they come back and say, oh, well, it's not finished, we need to do it, it's not able to take as many people or the whole school system like is required. So we're going to change it up next year. We're going to do a new one. And then the new one does the same thing and it doesn't work because it can't take the amount of people going into it, or it can't save all the documents that need to be saved. And that's frustrating when you're going from one to another. You're doing the same thing of, yeah, you're copying and pasting, you're trying to make it look good, but at the same time, it's the same work. So you're doing the same work over and over and over for the stuff that most of the time doesn't work. And that's frustrating to do. And then at the end of the day, in order for the students to try to get the most out of it, you have to have a 1-to-1 computer ratio, and you have to pair kids together on one computer. Sometimes you have to have a group of 4 or 5. And you're trying to get them all at Edmodo. Everybody has to turn their own assignment. There's only one computer for 5 people. They have to take turns. So now you're trying to figure out what the other 5 people are going to do when they need a computer one-on-one. In our school, we have 1,100, I believe, students. It will be very difficult to have one-on-one computer, and it's kind of hard to do assignments for everybody when not everybody can do it at home. And in the school, we cannot provide a one-to-one computer for the students to get the most out of some of the technology lessons that we're trying to do. Besides that, everything sounds great.
In closing, one major problem with technology in the classroom is that technology is constantly changing. In education, it takes time to purchase technology for the classroom, and most times, when the purchase is finally made, the technology has usually been updated and the classroom is stuck with an old version. Also, due to lack of funding, technology can't be upgraded on a regular basis, which means that some classes continue to use technology that may be obsolete.